Alive, let's hit the dance floor. Don't work too hard, might break a backbone. Return of the Mac, the king is back though. Corvette and cash, I never lack those. She saw the stone, you know how that go. Fatality, my diamonds that cold. Versace trunks, I hit my backstroke. Knock on the door, she at the back, bro. All I really take is a little taste. Island girl, blue eyes with a little bass. Here for the thrill, I don't need a chaser. Wanna vibe at a getaway. Shimmy, shimmy, yeah, I got the semi-fold weight. Don't step out the line like this a probate. You hit the line and try to locate. This for the time, got time for no day. One, too many, I'm going. Too crazy and I got bad ones and they ready. A good time, so now it's in the whip, we left that. Can't remember anything, but I know we got lit. Good times, live in the moment, feel like summertime. Obsessed with nature, not a world mine. The room is spinning, but I feel fine. Oh my. Chandelier, limousines. Really think I'm seeing things. Read the line in mid-between. Yellow light, I gotta speed up. Get home to a cold shower. Need that pronto. Look like a rave at the condo. Heck of a night in Toronto. She said, boy, you in Morocco. Pearl white mention in the top gold. Fill up my cup with the pop, whoa. High off life in the spot, though. Running up the visa, really talking to a real life Mona Lisa. Jesus pieces hanging off the fleecer. So much going on, it's hard to focus on the features. I got too many, I'm going. Too crazy, and I got bad ones and they ready.
A couple of things.
Welcome to Tales from the Lounge. I'm Ron.
And I'm Rhonda.
And this is our special guest tonight, Jim. We've known each other for how many years now? 3, 4, 5?
More than that, 5, yeah.
5 at least. And I've been meaning to have him on the show for quite a while. Finally got him lined up. And he's got an interesting story. We're going to talk about not only his life, college, getting started smoking, but a cigar lounge that he's involved with, as well as some other things. And we will get to that in just a moment. Welcome back, folks, and happy Halloween. I know I'm a week early, but next week, you know, Rhonda and I are going to be on a plane to Vegas, so we decided we'd show up in costume. I'm supposed to be a voodoo king, but people have said that I actually look like an elf for Christmas, so
Ron, the
maybe
Christmas
I'm the
elf.
elf on the shelf, you know.
Yeah, you're the little elf on the shelf.
All right,
Little elf on the
and
shelf.
I can put my mouse down now, say hi to everybody. And on we have Larry. Jackie Williams is on as well.
Hi, Jackie.
LaVonda
Hi,
and Wesley are already
Hi,
on.
LaVonda.
Hi, everybody.
Who's on? Lester's already on? Did you say?
Wesley.
Oh, Wesley's
Yep.
on now. Hi, Wesley.
And tonight we are smoking
We are smoking Foreign Affair.
a Luciano collaboration.
Yes.
And you know how we've fallen in love with Luciano here lately. So,
Yeah. We've smoked this a couple times on the show already.
once or twice. We
a
smoked a
couple times.
lot of Luciano in general on the show here lately. I mean, we had the Panda one week, and I mean the Luciano, the Maria
There you go,
Luciano or Lucia. So,
Well, let's
He's
talk
been one
about
of
this a little bit, right? Like, I think you can't talk about Foreign Affair without starting with Frank and Mike.
yes.
And if you have not met those two boys, they are two of the greatest guys in the business. They love coming in, talking to you about their stuff. I've had the opportunity to talk to them both in the lounge and at a couple of the shows in Vegas. Just two really interesting guys. They're passionate about the business. Luciano loves them. They all seem to work together. And just one of my favorite things to smoke because I like the people.
Well, you know, and that's one thing
Yeah.
that I know. I'm sorry, folks. I'm taking this hat off. Oh, God.
You don't want to be the steampunk Christmas elf anymore?
I don't
I
want to.
know, right?
My head's sweating. Oh, so anyway, building relationships with owners, not just reps, is kind of key. And when you're talking about Mike and Frank, I mean, you're getting that interaction with the people who are actually involved and not just some guy who's a sales guy getting paid to make
Right.
sales, you know.
Right.
And we're working on this bottle of Woodford Reserve again. Why not? It's
yeah,
always
we
good.
might as well just go ahead and knock
Cheers.
it out, finish it. Cheers. Cheers.
So, let's start off with the elephant in the room, and not me. But you're involved with Wild Cigar on an intimate basis.
That's right. So down in Burleson, Texas,
Right.
I am a very tiny minority investor in a cigar bar called Wild Culture and Lounge. And the interesting thing about Wild is all of the people who are investors in this thing were brought together through other lounges and other cigar relationships. So I know Chris Noteboom and his lead partner, they've known each other for quite some time. This was a dream they've had for a long time. They got to the point of making that dream reality, and what they decided is, hey, we want to involve some of our friends. And they made it to where, yeah, you could get in for a small purchase price, own a couple of shares, and get to be part of it. And the majority of the people they brought in were either already involved in the cigar business in some capacity, either as a wholesaler, something like that. And then they brought in some of their friends, people they had met in lounges. And it's just been a fantastic experience.
Nice.
This is one of those businesses that's not like other retail businesses. You know, it's a very different consumer.
Yep.
It's a very different
Environment.
If you've ever met cigar reps, that's a whole different group of people.
Yep.
Like
Right.
it's a
Yeah,
whole
it's
unique
yeah.
ecosystem and world. And you know, for me, I come from commercial insurance, which is nothing like what happens in a regular retail business.
Right.
And just to sit down and get to kind of learn it from the ground up, you know, there comes a point where you have to understand how much every square foot you have costs you. And you know what? You have to sell something on that square foot to make
Right,
it work.
To make it work,
So
exactly.
whether it's tangerines or cigars, you know, it's a real business.
Yeah,
Right.
And
absolutely.
you know, people walk into a cigar lounge and it's this comfortable place where people are sitting around having this great conversation. But it's really this business that's happening behind the scenes. And there's a family and investors and
Right.
people that really care about that. And that's what makes it work.
Well, and let's touch on that because what a lot of people who are not really familiar with retail space and business ownership on that level don't understand is that you pay for space in a strip mall or wherever by the square foot, and you figure that you have to generate so much business per square foot to pay the bills.
Right.
And so when you walk into a lounge and you see a chair, you need to think about how much does that chair have to generate to keep the lights on
Right.
and to keep the place open. So, it's good to have a big lounge with a lot of chairs and all that other stuff, but what you've got to look at is how is that chair generating money to keep everything running? And some places do it great, some people don't do it so well, and it can really affect the experience that you have. Because, cigar shop owners are just like everybody else. They get stressed out, and they start looking at the bills and shit and going, I'm not generating enough bodies in these chairs to generate the revenue I have. And sometimes they have bad days, and you catch them on bad days. And so, if one gets a little snippy with you, maybe you ought to not think, well, why are they being snippy at me? Think about, what am I contributing to the environment and to the culture?
Well, the question I hear a lot is, hey, I can buy this stick on the internet for 60 cents cheaper than you have it at your shop.
Right.
Why am I paying the 60 cents? And it's exactly what you're talking about. You're
Yeah.
supporting a local family and a local business.
Right.
You're supporting brick and mortar.
And a place to meet people and sit down and relax, and an environment that they won't get with that 60 cents savings.
Right, that's exactly right. And I know me and my friends talk about this all the time. If you are a single female and you're tired of Tinder and Facebook dating, you need to go to your local cigar shop. There's three things you're going to find about the people that are in there. Rhonda's laughing at me because she knows, right? One, there are single men in there.
Yes, there.
I know, it's as shocking as it is. Two, and this is a big thing, these are men that can sit around and listen to people talk about nothing for hours at a time.
I mean, hours.
Right? Hours, right? And then three is, and I apologize up front, three is, this is not a completely inexpensive hobby, so you at least know that they can afford to sit in the room and enjoy their hobby. Chances are they probably have time and space for you too.
Exactly.
So just something to think about.
Well, and I would say this, this cigar life is not, it's not cheap. It's very expensive, and it's
Well,
something.
it can be. Go ahead.
It's very expensive, but it's all in how you make it. You can have several different types of cigars and price ranges in your humidor. You don't always have to go and buy the $50 stick, the $30 stick. You can enjoy a cigar for $10.
That's
Exactly.
right.
You can go and enjoy a cigar for $12.
Yep.
And sometimes you might even find that one cigar that you like that might cost you $7. And they're not bad. So if you're a cigar smoker, ladies, and you don't want to go and spend like a whole bunch of money on a stick because you think that you have to when you go in the cigar lounge, you don't. You can just find most of the ladies they like flavored stuff. I myself particularly don't like anything flavored, but they have a lot of things in there and within your price range, and there's a lot of guys in there that will probably even buy you the stick anyway. You won't have to even worry about it.
Or at least pour you a drink.
But I
mean,
say that it can be very expensive. Like, this is an expensive habit because I know it is for me.
Well, yeah, but the deal is I don't want to say we're on another level. We are really into the culture. But
Right.
If you're a woman and you want to just kill a couple of hours, come in, spend $10, buy a stick, sit down in the lounge, and chat with somebody for a couple of hours. And you can't go to the movies that cheap.
That's
No.
right.
I mean there's a lot of things that you can't do.
And some
That
lounges
cheaply.
that you go to, they're BYOB, and then there's some that are not, that actually have a bar. Like Wild Cigar actually has a full bar.
Phenomenal bar.
A very nice bar. Matter of fact, Wild Cigar is where I got my love for old fashions again. So, I credit Wild Cigar for that because I did not like old fashions after I had one, and it was just way too sweet. But after visiting your shop, I was like, oh, this is good. So they have great bartenders. They can make you that fancy foo-foo cocktail drink you want because they know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, on the old fashions, one of the great things about the bar is Kim, who's the bar manager, she spent some time in New York City when she was getting her degree, and she actually worked in New York bars. And one of the big things there is a lot of diversity in the drinks.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you go in there to order your old fashioned, she has, I think, 12 or 14 different flavors of bitters. So if
Okay.
you want a black cherry old fashioned, you want a walnut old fashioned,
Uh-huh.
they can do that for you. It's
Yeah.
something a little different.
Yeah, so it's very nice. So we have to get back down there again.
Soon.
Because
Yep.
very soon because it is a great.
Well, y'all
It's
got a
great
2-year
spot.
anniversary coming up.
We do, right around Christmas time.
Yeah.
You can wear your elf outfit.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I'll wear my
Well,
elf
look,
outfit.
we'll just have. Do you guys still have
I
that
just got to
stage
swap
up
out
there?
hats.
We do still have the
Okay.
stage up there,
Well,
and
we're gonna put his little ass up on that stage in a chair, and then everybody can come sit on his lap and tell him what they want for Christmas. You just tell the
That's
little
the-
elf.
that's the- that-
You
that-
just tell the elf what you want.
Oh my
That's
You
right.
tell the little elf on the
Well,
shelf.
all I got to do is swap out hats, man. You get rid of the voodoo hat and put
We're
on
gonna
the
put the little elf on the
elf
shelf.
hat. Yeah.
and then after he's done getting everyone's Christmas lift, we'll just sit him different places
Right,
around the
that's-
room.
yes,
so
right.
he's keeping an eye on everybody.
Hey, you keep me liquored up and a cigar in my hand. You do whatever you want.
We're just gonna tell the little elf on the shelf what we want for Christmas.
That's
Oh.
right. I'm sure Chris will take care of you.
Oh, I know he will. Oh.
But to go back to what Rhonda was talking about a minute ago, this cigar here runs about $11.
Yeah.
And I'm not good with inches. This is like no, I'm kidding. This is
That's 12, man.
Yeah. This is the beauty of this is yes, it's $11. It will take you about 2 hours to smoke. If you're new to it and you take your time, it might take you 3 or 4.
Right.
Yep.
There's no rule that says you can't let it go out and relight it.
Right.
There is no other place on earth other than a cigar lounge where you're going to get that value of time, what you paid versus the amount of time you get to sit there.
Exactly.
Right.
And again, most cigar lounges do some effort to curate their crowd. So you're going to get a mix of colorful people that come from a variety of backgrounds and a
Yes.
variety of beliefs, and you're going to hear and see a lot of different things. It's a great place to come
Yep.
for friendly conversation.
And well, and
Yeah,
the cool
great
and the
conversation.
cool thing is, you leave all your troubles outside.
Yeah, once
come
you hit that
inside,
lounge.
You come inside, you get your steak, you just kick back and relax, and it's one of the most relaxing things that you can do. I'm not even sure I could go to a spa and get the relaxation that I get out of just sitting with friends and chatting and having a nice cigar and a drink, But maybe I'm trying the wrong bar, the spas and wrong processes or something. But
Well, the Dallas police did just raid that one down on Harry Hines today, so.
What?
Oh yeah, they hauled a whole bunch of people out of there.
Yeah.
At a cigar bar?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. A spa.
A spa.
Oh,
Yeah.
the spa.
The
Yeah.
spa. They took candy and ginger. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
right.
okay. Well, you know.
I'll have to go bail them out later. Yeah.
Ron's driving Uber tonight.
Hi, John.
Oh.
So
Hey,
I'm all like
and
squinching
Brittany's
because,
on.
I don't have my glasses on.
Brittany's on too.
Hi, Bree. That's my sister. Oh, yes, that's my sister.
Hey, we have comments. Look at that.
Hi, Sean.
We do. And if you had and you'll see that people watching on their computers and stuff, it's on the feed.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
Yeah. I figured out how to do that, and I was like, I like that, man. That way people can see what other people are saying. So tell us, what are you smoking? What are you drinking it? And come on, Larry.
Come on, Wesley,
Please
because
tell
I know
me.
you're smoking and I know you got a drink in your hand too, honey. Tell me what you're smoking. It's a little warm over here.
It is a
It's
little
a
warm.
little warm.
If I'd have been thinking, I'd have kicked the swamp cooler on.
Yes,
D-
there's
d-
no airflow.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's no
so
airflow.
let me so we are totally not shooting like in the lounge. We're shooting in
The new
new
lounge.
part of the lounge.
Yes.
So
It was a little crowded in there, and they're getting ready for the Halloween party on Saturday,
Yes.
so some of the decorations are up, and our usual spot was taken, so we were scrambling. Apologies for being late. We were trying to get this together in this room last minute, but this is where the bar for the Fuselage Lounge is going to be, right here, and as you can see, we've got a whole bunch of construction. It almost looks like a found footage haunted house, though, because,
I know.
you know,
Service is purpose. It's like, it's how fitting that we're in here at this time.
Yep, and it's raining outside, and
Gosh, it is storming here in Texas. Like, you can hear the rain right now. It's going down again. Like, it literally took me almost a full hour just to get here from my house. And I live in Corinth.
well, John's drinking more of the piggyback and
Oh, okay.
smoking Alpha Romero. So
All right.
I've never had one of those. What makes Alfa Romero? Alfa Romero?
and Wesley's not drinking tonight,
Ooh.
but he's smoking an ARJ 1875. So
Okay.
All right, not bad.
not bad.
All right.
So
Well, this foreign affair, let me just tell you about this
I'm gonna go.
foreign affair. So I had my first foreign affair with Evan. Evan got me my first foreign affair. And
yeah,
then
you smoked one of those before I did.
Yeah.
So next time, after last week, you gave me such a hard time about smoking that principle before you did. Remember, that goes both ways.
You're so petty. Anyway, don't be petty.
You were the one being petty.
Don't be petty. Don't be petty. You had to be petty too. Just because I was being petty last week, you got to just up one me.
Hey,
Anyway,
I'm just trying to even it out.
Anyway, you don't need to even it out. Anyway, so he gave me my first foreign affair, and I have, from the first draw, was like, oh, this is amazing, and I've loved this stick ever since. It is like literally in my top five.
I've probably
and I will
had
tell
a dozen
you,
of these myself.
every time I smoke this stick, it just gets better and better and better to me.
Yep.
I mean, it's really like on the same lines of a Crux for me. Although Crux was always my number one.
Yep.
My Bull and Bear. Crux is my number one. But this is really this is the top second. Like, this is really, really super good.
Well, and this cigar was, I cannot remember which cigar magazine it was in, but it was just featured and scored in one of the magazines and did very well.
What was it, a 92 or?
Something
Yep.
like that, yeah. The one Vitola was a 92, the other one was an 89, which is really good. I mean, it's definitely top 10 for that.
Oh yeah. So, back to Wild. I remember, and I mentioned this earlier, Chris and I shot a show from Wild during
Yeah.
construction, similar to this right here.
Oh,
There
yeah,
were
I
partial
remember that, yeah.
construction, and we did the show out there with Chris, and it was Chris and me, and we had such a great time. But what was interesting is that when y'all were doing the planning for all of that, I remember you and Chris sitting in here with the Frakes.
That's right.
And just to give you an idea of the way this business and culture can run and should run, is they help each other. I remember them sitting talking about, what they should look for, things they should be mindful of, things that to help them run their business, and they've just been so helpful all the way around, and they do that all the time for a lot of different businesses and industries.
Yeah, when we came in here, it was summer of 21. It was before we opened, and Dave was here that day. They had done their Saturday morning podcast, and he sat down and gave us, it had to be 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours, of just a master class of what he had learned about running a cigar bar. And one of the things he really talked about was, you have to know what's sitting on your shelf, how fast it's moving, what's your aging reports. And it's almost like a manufacturing thing, right?
Yeah.
You bring in a widget, how long until it goes out the front door for a profit? And it was just, again, in the business I'm in, we don't necessarily think about aging. That's not the way it works.
Right.
So to hear him talk about that and to be as intelligent and passionate about it as he was a real help to us.
Right.
And, again, it just gave us a direction. I know we had thought about it, but we had not thought about it maybe like that.
Right.
And it was really a benefit.
Yeah, I would say if you really, really want to know something about it, I mean, Pops is the
All the
best.
phrase.
Yeah.
If you want to know golf, you talk to Andrew. If you want to know about branding and marketing, you talk to Brandon. If you want to know about tobacco leaves and blending, you talk to Nathan.
Right?
And Pops is the money man. He knows how to manage the money and what things to look for.
Yeah, but not just that. Like his passion for this is just so, it's just so great. Like he just knows everything about the stick. And it doesn't matter what stick it is, he will tell you about every stick in there, from the wrapper to the binder to the filler to the region, everything. And it's just so great and refreshing to know that you can sit down and talk to him if you got a question about it, and he's going to tell you. And he's going to tell you the right way. He's going to give you the right answers. He's going to show you how to do it. Like, he's the one that turned me on to Atabay, spoiled me to death. That's why I'm rotten now. And helped me find my cutter, my lighters. Because, I mean, I've been smoking for years, but at the same time, it's like, I didn't always have the best cutter. I didn't always have the best cutter. I didn't always have the best lighter either.
Well, and I've joked many, many times, I did not know how to cut a cigar, and for about 6-8 months of smoking cigars, I was cutting this cigar improperly and didn't figure that out till I started coming here.
That's right.
Well, I mean, there's things that we've all done.
The basics.
And some things that we still do that we don't really know that we're doing wrong until someone says, hey, okay, I saw you do this. This is how you do it. Thank you for telling me, because I've been doing this correctly for like how many years?
Yep.
So I mean, this is what I love about the culture, because everybody is so helpful and friendly, and they don't tell you, oh, you know what you're doing, you're cutting around. They're not negative about it. They're not condescending, and they're not putting you down. They're just showing you the right way to do it, and they're so nice and sweet about it.
Yep.
Well, and the nice thing, too, is industry friends are important.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if we were right across the street, Dave would probably feel differently about us. The reality is that shop is 65 miles away.
Yeah.
We're not pitching to each other's customers. And I know 2 Saturdays ago, Chris with a K came up here and was here for the Saturday morning podcast. Brandon made a big deal about him being in here, introduced him to the live audience that they had, and he I think he got his directions confused, which is funny and fine. But he said, hey, if you're west of the airport, go to Wild. If you're east of the airport, come up here.
Yep.
And, good friends like that.
Yeah.
We're in the same business and we're selling a similar product, but we're not necessarily against each other. There's a customer for each of us, and it's nice to know people that feel that way.
Exactly. Yeah.
And John said that that's what brought him into ICC the other night was when he saw us, and he said that he spent 2 hours with him the first time he was in the lounge.
Yeah, he did. I remember John telling me that. Yeah, he did. He spent 2 hours with him, just talking to him and just getting that knowledge. And that's the thing about Pops. He will sit and he'll talk to you for hours, and he will tell you, because that is his passion. He loves it. He loves it. You want to know something, talk to Pops. I want to know something, I'm going to talk to Pops.
So, do you have a ticket for Saturday?
For Saturday? No. I know. I should. I don't.
Why don't you?
Because I don't. I didn't do it. I just forgot all about it.
Get online. Go get a ticket.
I think there's still some tickets.
There's still a few tickets left for the Halloween party this Saturday night here at ICC. It is always off the chain. It is, I mean, drinks and food and
they're already
people
preparing
in cool
for it, so they've already started decorating.
Yep,
and the,
cool
lounge,
costumes,
so
it's always a lot of fun.
It's a whole production, and it's so much fun. It's like one of their biggest events of the year. Like
it is the biggest event of the year.
It is super, super fun.
I don't think people really take into account how stressful Halloween is. I am not. It's all that pressure of what do you want to dress up as.
See,
it took me 20 minutes to figure out what color shirt I wanted to wear on TV. Like, I am not creative like
and we're
this.
not TV. Can you imagine this dress if it was real TV?
Oh my good. Well,
oh my God.
You got the nice lights. I mean,
well, it's a good thing I had them because it's dark in here.
Right.
Hi, Evan. Evan's on.
It's about time. So, when did you have your first cigar?
That is an excellent question, and I started out with, back then it was Eckerd Drug, not CVS.
Yep.
I walked
Eckerd.
in Eckerd's.
Wow.
I'm old enough to know what an Eckerd's is. I walk into Eckerd's, and behind the counter, I was going to the horse races. I remember this, and I thought that's something you do at the horse races. Yeah. And this was also back when you could still smoke inside.
Yes.
Yep.
So I was like, you know what? I'm taking a cigar to the horse races. And I again, keep in mind where I'm at.
Yep, right. Yep.
Give me the ones in the plastic tube. Those must be good. They're in a tube. And I think it was Garcia Vega or whatever they sold there at the time. And of course it was horrible, but I had never had it before. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, it's like, this would have been early 90s. So you think about that period of time in movies and all that.
Yep.
And you had Stallone, who was a cigar smoker. You had Schwarzenegger, who was a cigar smoker. You know, the mafia on TV and in the movies smoked cigars.
Yep. Yeah, Scarface.
It was just, right.
Yeah.
It was just this alpha thing
this alpha male thing.
Yeah, that big strong men did. And I thought, well, all right, I mean, maybe I'm not exactly like that, but I can smoke a cigar just like they do. I can enjoy a piece of that
And I think they've lowered the
lifestyle.
standard for that, so yeah.
Right. So, that was my first experience with it. And of course, like everybody else, because I was smoking a very inexpensive product that was machine made, I got the heartburn and I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
It was burning sideways, the whole thing. But
that heartburn's a killer, though.
Killer that first time. But neither one of you liked whiskey the first time you drank it. Cigars are kind of the same thing. You're like, you know what? I actually did feel a little less stressed when I had my cigar.
Yeah.
I want to try that again. Maybe I need to go somewhere that specializes in it, like your local cigar shop, and maybe get something that the lady who just developed my pictures behind the counter didn't pick out for me.
Right.
So,
maybe knows something.
Maybe knows something about it. So, I probably spent more time with Eckerd cigars in my college days than I should have because I didn't know better.
You didn't know better.
But, then I turned like 40, the age of reason for men, and got into cigar culture, cigar shops, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So do you remember the first really good cigar you had?
Well, so there's two stories. There's my Cuban story that everybody has, and then everything else. I used to read books by Clive Cussler.
Okay.
And the lead, the old admiral that was kind of featured in the stories, he smoked Hoyo de Monterrey #1s.
Okay.
And of course, there's the Cuban version of that, and then the version you can get here.
Right.
Well, that was the first big boy adult cigar I ever had, was the Hoyo de Monterrey #1. There is actually still a shop in DFW that sells them over in Euless. When I'm in there, I still get one occasionally just for the nostalgia.
Yep.
Now, back when I started all this, they were $3 a piece.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when you go in there, they're 10 or 11, and they're shaped like this.
Yeah.
They're, a big long cigar. But that was really my first experience on the premium side. Very good stick. For the my Cuban experience, like everybody else, I was bought into the mystique because I didn't really know better.
Exactly.
And I tried a couple of different things, and I'm like, they all taste kind of the same. Two, they're all really earthy. And then I find it, ironically enough, I got to remember which one, Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure. And those are the actual Cuban ones. And that, I have never had one that let me down. They're beautiful, smooth, and earthy all the way through.
Okay.
And if I'm anywhere in the world where it's legal to buy them, I will get one.
There you go.
That is my go-to.
So, what whiskey did you pair with that cigar? Do you remember?
I do not. Well, back in when I first started with the American Hoyo de Monterey's, I was not in my whiskey phase.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So
I would almost guarantee you it was either Woodford or probably like Basil Hayden with this Cuban.
Okay.
It would have been one of those two.
So, okay, so I like whiskeys, I like bourbons, but I had my first taste, thanks to John, Sunday, of Piggyback. I'd never had it.
I've never had that.
Oh, I will tell you this, and him and I were talking about this. When I first took a sip of it, I was like, that just hit me in the gut. But my second sip, I was like, oh, this is okay. And the third sip, I was like, oh, this is good stuff. It's like that first initial sip of something, it just punched you in the gut. I was like, oh.
Well, you know, the alcohol numbs everything
Yeah.
slowly, and then
But
you know, yeah.
like the second and the third, I was like, oh, this is some good stuff. Like, okay, this needs to go on my bar. So he's the reason why I'm gonna get Piggyback.
There you go. Very good.
But that wasn't like my first initial start of whiskeys. I would say was Woodford.
Okay. I had the unfortunate college experience with alcohol, and I'm pretty sure my first whiskey, if you can call it that, was like Dickel in the plastic bottle. But, that's what you drank in 1992 in college. So, I did not go to the college with kids with money. I went to the state school and we drank out of plastic bottles.
Hey, you know what?
So.
But I bet you had a great time, and that's like the best way.
Well,
and
didn't suck.
crawled to your room on more than one occasion. And,
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Hi, Dad. My dad is on.
Oh, hello, Dad.
So what do you think is the most important thing you've learned in the cigar business, hanging out at Wild and working on that?
I think it's the one lesson we've learned really is developing the culture with with the people that come in. And the biggest thing we learned is Burleson, where it is a very different cultural city than what
Frisco.
the Frakes have in
Yeah.
Frisco. And while there are aspects of this lounge that we really like, there are things we tried to do and it just would not necessarily work down there.
Right.
So then the question is, how do you, the beauty of a retail business is you can pivot it at any point. And, when we first opened it up, the idea was we wanted it to be a cocktail lounge.
Okay.
We wanted people to come in and try the old fashioned, try the 12 different bitters and all that.
Yeah.
And, the people came in, that was, it was December, so it was football time.
Yeah.
People came in and said, well, I want a bucket of beers. And we're like, well, we're not a bucket of beer bar, we're a whiskey bar. Maybe you can try that. Well, we found out that was a real demand and people wanted it.
Right.
And we responded to what the local consumer said they
Right.
wanted. We started offering a little more craft beer. You can get your bucket of 4 for $12.
Yeah.
We started doing some of that. And, again, it was very well received. So
Right.
it was about learning the vision we had was good, and we still offer all of that,
Right.
but we need to do some of this too.
Right, because you need to cater to your
audience.
your
Right.
audience, and
Yeah.
if that's what they're requesting, in order for them to keep coming back, you need to make sure that you start like catering to them, because down in Burleson, it's far for us, but I noticed when I was there, like you said, there is all different types of people, and everybody wants something different.
That's right.
And I'm a beer drinker too. I like beer, but I don't necessarily want it when I'm smoking a cigar. But that's just me. Like I want either a scotch or a bourbon or a whiskey. And my go-to drink is Tito's and tonic. So, I mean, I'm liable to ask for that too. But at least I know when I go to Wild, I can get all of that. And if I'm down there with someone else, with a friend of mine, with another friend who just likes to drink beer only, she
It's
can
there.
get that or he can get that.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things we really learned in the humidor was, me and the other partners in the place, we are boutique brand smokers.
Right.
Right.
So like
Right.
I absolutely love Luciano.
Yes.
I love Principal. Darren's a
Yes.
great guy.
Yes.
We love Definition, all you know,
Yes.
those brands. But the thing was, we had people come in and, you know, the first thing they ask for is what they know.
Right.
And they were like,
Right.
well, we would like Deadwood Fat Bottom Betty, right? We want our whatever it is.
Yes.
And we were like, well, we don't carry that yet.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, 6 months later, we're in business with Drew Estates and we brought in a chunk of their line. And I think Fat Bottom Betty is now probably top 3, top 5.
Well,
but again, it's what the local consumer wants.
right, and
Right.
especially if you have a female going in there, a lot of times, most of the time, a female is going to migrate to the Fat Bottom Betties because they like the sweetness.
Yeah.
They don't want anything, too strong because they're just starting. Maybe they're just starting to smoke, and they don't want to be overpowered with the
And their palates aren't developed yet.
Well,
Right.
yeah, it's just not developed. But for me, when I started, I did start with a flavored cigar, but I quickly realized after that first one, this is not for me. I do not like flavored cigars. Now, do I have a couple Fat Bottom Betties in my humidor? Yes, I do, because I've had them since I first started smoking.
Right.
And they've just been sitting there aging. But I'm not going to give those up to anybody because they've just been there aging, right?
Right.
So
She's going to feel nostalgic, and she's going to say, you know what, I think I'm going to smoke one of these.
I'm telling you, I'm
And
not
she's
going to feel
about
nostalgic
a third way
because
through and go, now I remember why I don't like this crap.
yeah, but see, so I'm not going to smoke it because I just don't like flavored cigars.
Yeah.
Now, on that special occasion for one of my friends who does like the flavored and the Fat Bottom Betties, I got
Yeah.
something for you.
Exactly.
It's been aging for 5 years already. So you're going to smoke that, and you're going to smoke all of that too.
Well, one of the things I learn every once in a while when I'm there, I like going into the humidor to, I jokingly call it volunteering. And
Yeah.
I'll go in there and I'll help folks. If they look
Yeah.
lost, I'll help
Yeah.
them pick something out. And I remember there was a young female police officer in there, and she said, hey, I'm new to this. I want to try something that's flavored. Everyone tells me this is what I want to get.
Okay.
And I said, well, let me show you something else. If you want that, that's great.
Right.
Let me show you something else. And I went over to the principal section and I picked her up an Angelique.
Oh, yeah, Angela,
And
yeah,
she
yeah.
said, you're just giving it to me because it's a pink wrapper. And I said, okay, yes, the branding is geared towards women, that's
Yes.
right. But you're going to get the flavor that you're looking for in a little easier experience
Exactly.
in a boutique brand
Yes.
with a gentleman that we really want to support.
Yeah.
And I just try it. It's $7, whatever it was. It's a little less expensive, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
And you fast forward now, I was in there, I walked in, she had an Aviator, right? She
See?
had graduated up the
Yeah.
boutique chain.
Yeah.
And but that's part of it is, I do sales in commercial insurance, which is in my world, it's a business to business sale.
Right.
The beautiful thing about talking to retail customers is they want to try what they're familiar with, but if they
Right.
try something new, they may absolutely love it. We brought in Luciano right after the show in Vegas in July. No one on that side of town, south side of Fort Worth, carries that. Like, it's still expanding their
Right.
reach. They saw it and they were like, what in the hell is this? Like, you've got
Yeah.
all these facings
Yeah.
of this. What in the hell is this? And we told them the story. Look, this isn't just about, right? We love Luciano, like he's a good dude, but it's not just about that. The people that blend his stuff with him,
Yes.
like we like Mike and Frank. We like Panda,
Yeah, we
the
love
lighter
Panda
sponsor
steak, yes.
here. Like we do business with the people we like to do business with. And we wouldn't bring it in if we didn't like it.
Right.
And we think it's something you'll enjoy
Exactly.
too.
Right.
And I know even now, just 3 or 4 months later, we have people that come in and go, "Hey, you're out of ATL Good Trouble. Where's
Yeah.
my Good Trouble?"
Right,
you know?
right. They
And that's
want it. They
that's a
want
good
it.
thing.
That's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
Evan says, what in the hell is Ron wearing? Well, Evan,
It's Halloween.
it's Halloween, and he is wearing, honey, I don't know, but he looked like a little elf, so we're going to put him on. So we, for Christmas, are going to put him on stage at Wild Cigar, and he's going to be the little elf on the shelf, and we're going to go tell him what we want for Christmas. So we're going to tell the elf what we want for Christmas. And then we're going to stick him in each corner after
then
that.
I'm going to send the bill to these guys and say, y'all got to buy this for all these people.
That's right.
So he's our little elf on the shelf right now. But it's some costume, I don't know. Ron, I have to tell you, I don't know.
Well, it went with this voodoo guy hat.
That It was too hot for
So
him to wear.
imagine something in
Yeah, his head was sweating.
Mardi Gras, Voodoo, Louisiana, Baton Rouge. You know, something you'd wear on the French Quarter.
Wow, do you hear that rain? That rain
Yep.
is
It's coming down.
It's coming down. I hear something dripping too.
Well, that's, yeah.
And this is actually a waistcoat. So let me.
Wow. Look at you.
Yeah, show the entire costume.
Very, very
There you go.
cosmopolitan
There
there.
you go. There you go. My dad's so funny. He said his first drink was Boone's Farm.
Hey,
Hey,
Hey, and we all start
we
somewhere.
all start somewhere. And you know,
Lester, I've drank a lot of Boone's Farm.
and that stuff is still around today.
Oh yeah.
You can still
Mad
get
Dog
MD
You can-
2020.
look,
Mad
you know
Dog
what?
2020.
My first beer was St. Ives.
Yep.
Remember that? I don't even know if they even have St. Ives anymore. But
Oh, I'm sure they
but
do.
I know that was my first beer, and I thought I was drinking something, honey. I just
When
thought I was drinking
When
something.
I was 15, 16, we go to the bootleggers there in Tyler and get a quart of Schlitz for $2.
Yep. The case of the 30 count of Natty Light for $8 back
Yep.
then.
Yep.
Ah, we're old, Ron.
You go
Yeah.
you go to this old little shotgun house, and this guy'd come out and you give him $2, he'd give you that big quart bottle. And what was funny is I was working at Grandy's at the time, and me and two of my friends worked at Grandy's, and they wouldn't let us take chicken most of the time left over at the end of the night, but we could have all the rolls we wanted.
Oh,
And
boy.
so we'd wind up with 2-3 dozen rolls. We'd go get the beer and head out to the lake and drink beer and eat rolls till 2-3 o'clock in the morning. So.
Man.
And now Ron and I are going to tell the story about why both of us are overweight.
Carb City, buddy.
That's right.
Carb City.
I've never meant the simple carbohydrate I didn't like.
Hell no.
No, it.
And every time I do keto,
I'm right there with you too, honey.
every time I do keto, it's always the rolls that make me backslide.
Yeah, but women get to be thick with 2 C's. There is no equivalent for men. We're just fat fucks. That's just all there is to it. Excuse me, fat people.
That's all right. We make it look good.
Hey, I love all my thickness.
There you go.
I just embrace it. I love all my thickness.
Oh.
This is good, Ron. Thank you for the smoke. Thank you for the smoke.
Oh, you're good,
welcome.
man. So, what's your top 3 cigars that you go to?
Well, you gave him 3. I was gonna tell him 5, but okay.
I could give you 5. Man, I hope.
And they don't have to be in order.
All right. There's no brand people watching. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Hey,
All right,
and hardly
so
anybody's watching, so who cares?
All right, that's good. All right, so my number one go-to ever since the Frakes introduced me to it was Darren at Principal, his Aviator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like every
Yeah.
shape. I like every length. I
Yeah.
like all of it. The Patrier is probably my favorite. One of the things I talked to Darren about when we were in Vegas was, I said to him, the taste of that Patrier has matured over time.
Yep.
When it first came out, it had a much higher floral note to it than it
Yeah.
does now. And he said, we've had that tobacco on the shelf for 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's aged and matured. So, yes, it is still the Patrier. Yes, it is still that same tobacco from the same
Yeah.
field and the same everything.
Yeah, it's just.
But it's definitely matured over
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
And, to this day, I still like it. So I would say anything in that family is my number one.
Right.
Assuming I'm feeling prosperous that day, I will go for the Byron
Oh,
Anos
yes.
4. I
Yep.
absolutely
Okay.
love that stick. And same thing, I do not care what size it is. I like all the sizes, all the
Yep.
shapes.
Yeah.
My third, and man, I have not had anything out of Luciano that I haven't liked.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll put that brand as a whole into
Yeah.
the third spot. It is probably a tie, 3-way tie between Maria Lucia, any of the sizes,
Yep.
the Foreign Affair, and then the Panda. And
oh my gosh.
And Panda
that
hit it out the park. I mean,
Yeah,
right
Oh,
off
he
the
home
just
bat.
run,
did.
yeah.
He just did a phenomenal job on that stick. I mean,
We
the
gotta
co-
have
the-
him on the show
Yeah, the
soon.
collaboration with that is just.
Just
I mean,
everybody
it's
who's
just
collaborated
amazing.
with Luciano comes out.
Yeah, I mean, you
on
can't.
top.
Like,
Comes out with a great product.
It's always a win
Yeah.
with anybody that collaborates with Luciano because
He's such
his passion for
And his palate.
to produce a really good stick is just amazing. Like if it doesn't taste right to him, he's not putting it out there.
Yep.
Right.
He's not gonna put that out there. You will not find a bad stick
Right.
in his entire line.
Well, and the great thing was 2 weeks ago, Friday, we had a cut and light with Luciano at Wild.
Right.
And Panda came. He was in town.
Yeah.
So Panda came. He liked the club so much, he was there this last week.
Yeah.
So he came down again before he goes back to Nicaragua. And then Sean, the local sales rep for
Sean,
Luciano, was here. So they came out and did a cut and light. And the interesting thing is we've done several cut and lights or events with
Right.
brands. And I think, some of the sales reps are more into it than others. What made the Luciano thing special was, one, we actually had one of their blenders and partners
Right,
in Panda
yes.
come, and then he and Sean were both gracious and very helpful to all the people that walked in.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a nice table. You come in, you make the right turn to come into the lounge.
Yeah.
They were set up right,
right
there.
there.
Panda had a bunch of his lighters that if you bought a box, you got a lighter and some other swag.
Oh, that's got a
Yeah,
V
here, I'll-
cutter on it.
Yeah, it's neat. It's like
Holy
it's neat.
crap!
Yeah, so here I'll hold it up
It's
to
like
the
an
camera.
all-in-one cutter,
So
a lighter. and
you've
cutter.
got a cutter on the front.
Yeah.
You can then punch hole punch
Yeah.
if you like that, and then of course it will light your cigar.
Yeah, it's like it's
I like
it's the
that.
neatest thing.
And it's branded. I don't know what these letters are at the bottom. We'll have to have Panda tell us that
Right.
another time. But just the Panda
Well,
letter.
bit of trivia. You probably know. I'm not sure Rhonda knows. Panda is the first United States Chinese-owned cigar brand.
Mm-hmm.
All the rest of the cigars made out of China are owned by the Chinese government.
Chinese government, yeah.
And he's the first Chinese
Mm-hmm.
person to have their own blend unassociated with the government.
That's awesome. Isn't that
It
awesome?
is.
That's awesome.
It is.
And he's a fun guy to talk to.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
phenomenal.
He's so friendly, and I mean, he's, and I can't say much because I'm always a friendly guy, and everybody, I get along with everybody, and I love everybody, and so it's not fair to use me as an example, but he comes in, and within 10 minutes we're best buds. I mean, it's just kind of crazy, but he does that with a lot of people. I've seen him go through, and he knows people, and anytime you see him afterwards, he's happy to see you, and very engaging.
Yeah, it was good to see him on Sunday. So that was
It was.
It was a good surprise.
Oh,
Well, our
What else did
time
you want to
is,
talk about?
Oh, I think one of the things you and I talked about was I wanted to talk about Dallas sports a little bit, but
Yes.
we
Yes.
can. If you guys ever invite me back, we
No,
can
no,
save
no.
it
No,
for
no, no.
that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
we started late anyway.
So I am a degenerate Dallas Cowboys fan.
Okay.
And, I started thinking about, we talk about this in one of my friend groups sometimes. Why do you root for the team you root for?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of put that into the same bucket of why are you the religion that you are, right? I was born in Dallas, Texas. I was
Yeah.
raised in the Christian faith.
Mm-hmm.
That's because of proximity and parents. That's what I was. And the interesting thing is none of the people in my immediate family that I was raised with were really huge sports fans, but it was on the TV.
Right.
And I was like, man, I live in Dallas. They're the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah,
they're
they're
my
the team.
team.
Yep.
They're the one I could, especially in the 70s when I was coming up.
Yep.
You didn't get 700 channels of TV. You got to watch your local team, and that
And
was
see, and
it.
I was out in East Texas. You got 3, and the third one, if you were lucky,
Yeah, yeah. And,
I had to go out and turn the antenna pole with my hand,
and the thing is, I fell in love
I ain't
with
had
the
to do that,
Cowboys.
but okay.
Yeah. And what's tough is I understand why people hate the Cowboys. They had a dynasty for 20 years, minus a couple of years there in the late 80s, early 90s. From 70 up until 95, they were the team. They won 3 Super Bowls while I was in college. Like, I get why people hate them. But then, I'm a fan of all things Dallas, so I love hockey.
Yeah.
I had a little mini season ticket package the first year they were here in '93, and the thing is, like, people hate first of all, in the modern era, the Stars have only won 1 title. But there are people that hate that team. There's people still 20 years later arguing that Brett Hull's goal didn't count. And why? Why would just like hating the Bad News Bears? How do you hate them? They've won one title. Now, if you're in Detroit or Chicago, I'll give you some slack. That was an old rivalry team for you. I'll give you that. And to this day, if you go locally when they're playing Chicago, the Blackhawks fan are singing that stupid song every time they score a goal. Like, I get it. I get it. But, you know, the Mavericks have won one title. FC Dallas hasn't won shit. How do you hate these teams from here? Like, I don't understand. But you watch any national broadcast other than the Cowboys, and especially if it's Troy Aikman or Tony Romo, they are rooting for whoever. The Game 7 sounded like two Houston Astros guys calling the game. They were heartbroken that Bobby kept hitting home runs. You know, I just don't understand it.
Well, you know, and I guess it was last Sunday, we were sitting here, and the Rangers had just finished their game, and they cut to the post game, and they're ragging on the Cowboys. I'm like, why are you talking about the Cowboys? The Rangers just lost. What the fuck are you guys doing? You know? And we were joking about it and joking about how they, you know, everybody who comes on just wants to rag on the Cowboys. And then not 5 minutes later, these guys come on and start talking the Cowboys. And I'm like, oh my God, this is just so hilarious.
I know.
Leave the boys alone.
And then and I love this, so
hey, Caitlin.
Kevin Nagandi, who does Sports Center, he's actually very good friends with my cousin. And they show him on the broadcast, and he's wearing Philly cufflinks, Philadelphia Philly cufflinks. And I'm like, look, I get it. You're a son of Philadelphia. I get it, the whole thing. Yeah. But you know what? Give a little love to my Rangers, right? They've never won a thing. Just a little bit.
They did awesome. Come on now.
They did.
They beat Houston.
They did beat Houston.
Beat that ass.
They struggled at it, but they finally beat Houston.
Yeah, but they got it. But that's what makes them like, they really realized where they needed to show up at. You know, they did lose a couple games to them, but they brought that shit home.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
They got it together and they brought it home.
With a big win.
The last two games.
Well, and I think what they learned is don't hit Garcia on purpose. Because, boy, he came in and... you ever seen one guy own an entire franchise for a game? That was it. If it was over the plate, he knocked it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you love about FC Dallas?
You know, I was the typical American sports fan. Soccer is boring.
Yeah.
It's too slow. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
And I think it was 2016 and 2020, I got into World Cup a little bit, especially when the women had their big run and ended up winning it. And in fact, when they won the Cup, I was actually sitting at a very cool cigar lounge in South Florida watching the game on their TVs. And all of a sudden, my school teacher buddy of mine, Kyle, says, hey, why don't, those tickets are dirt cheap, and as a coach, I can get free tickets to go. Why don't we go try it out? And we went, and the crowd was just electric. Like, even though it was only maybe half full, soccer fans are a different breed altogether.
I know, because it's, in my family, soccer is the game. Like
the game,
my family, my other side of the family is born and raised in San Salvador. So it's like a big thing. It is a big thing, and that's all they watch. And they're passionate about it. Like, when I lived in California, we used to go to Galaxy games, and we knew Mauricio Cienfuegos, who played for the Galaxy. We were personal friends with him. So we'd go watch him in Pasadena, and then we'd go to his house afterwards, and we would sit around drinking tequila, eating pupusas, all Salvadoran food, and just having a good time. That's the reason why I don't like tequila, but...
Right.
I don't like tequila, but I've soon started to like tequila as I got older. But back then, I just could not take tequila anymore. But it's so big, it's huge. It's like, wow, this is... I got to really see, like, oh my God, you guys are really, really passionate about this game.
It's the world game, except for here.
Yeah, it's the world game. It's like, and anytime we're playing somewhere that we could go and watch, we went.
Yep.
We went, especially if they were in Pasadena playing and they're playing home, we went every time, and we were always at his house. Either we would wait for him afterwards and we all go together, or we would just meet him and just have a good time.
Right. But the crazy thing was, we get to COVID, and the only two games going were Australian rules football and EPL, right?
Yeah.
European soccer, and English Premier League. So because we were desperate for some type of competition, and the cooking shows got old pretty quick.
Oh yeah, they got old real quick.
So we started, we all picked a team, and we started following a team, and when it was over, we ended up buying FC Dallas season tickets.
Yeah.
And again, it's the most affordable pro sport in
It
town.
is so affordable.
But
it's fun.
It's fun, and they have the supporter section. You've got guys with drums and trumpets and this whole thing. They sing the whole time.
They sing.
They scream obscenities in Spanish the whole time.
Yeah, you're like,
wonderful.
what did I say?
I know,
like,
right?
oh, they said this.
Right. And what's great about it is, there was one game. It was right when everything started lifting again, and I can't remember who they were playing, but it was an absolute blood match. And the supporter section got so upset, and they were chanting in Spanish, and it was horrible, right? That game happened to be on ESPN Deportes, and the camera picked it up. And the supporter section got suspended for 2 games. It was empty because they got told they weren't putting them on the broadcast anymore because they were carrying on close to the mic.
Yeah.
Anyway, fast forward 2 years, we've really kind of learned the game and got an appreciation for it. And the American criticism of soccer is fair. It's not usually high scoring. It's impossible, even though the goal is 40 feet wide, it's impossible to score.
It is.
The thing is, by the time your team does everything right and gets that ball in, you are this mix of so pissed and so happy all at the same time. Like, you're high-fiving people around you, you're jumping up and down going crazy, and it's not every sport has that.
Yep.
And the thing about soccer, just like hockey, because it moves so fast, you can't take your eyes off of it. Right? You got to watch it. You have to be fully engaged.
Yeah.
You can't sit there on your phone texting your friend. You're going to miss something. And again, it was just something we learned about, and now we're crazy about it, and it's great.
I get it, because I have every sports channel in my house, on my TV in my house.
You know what the biggest advantage to FC Dallas is, don't you?
What's that?
It's right behind us.
It's right behind us. That's the best thing ever.
The Frakes are nice enough to let me park in the parking lot back there, and I just walk over.
Yeah.
Well, the other deal is, every time there's a fireworks display,
oh yeah,
it's over here at
it's over there.
It's over there.
So
we just sit out back and watch the fireworks
you're
show.
getting
free of charge.
Free of charge, and the best seats ever.
In fact, one year it was windy, and we actually had some of the debris from the explosions in the sky falling on us.
Yeah.
It
was really windy that day.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun.
The nice thing about having FC Dallas there too is if they have a lightning delay, we can just walk over here and wait it out over
there
here.
you go. That's right.
That's right.
You can always go to a cigar lounge, but you can always come to ICC.
Well, I want to thank you, Jim, for coming in.
Yes,
you bet.
Thank you so much for being on the show
I'm sorry
tonight.
it's taken us so long to get together like this.
No, this is great.
And remember, next week we'll have a recorded show.
Yeah.
One of our old shows, because we'll be in flight. But we will be posting some video and pictures of stuff that we're doing in Vegas. We've got, again, 8 cigar lounges we're going to try and hit and do lounge reviews on. We've got the Big Smoke event.
In which we'll be there on Saturday for that one.
So if you run into us in Vegas, stop us, say hi, and hell, we'll sit down and have a cigar and a drink and have a good time.
Yeah.
So take care, and thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, guys, and happy Halloween. Be safe.